Nathan Deal is the governor of Georgia. He's a Republican. He absolutely needs to go. Reddit user Pop Murtha on our Reddit discussion forum wrote to us, and he said, currently Nathan Deal leads. In the average of all recent polls, it's a 3.2% margin, but is polling well below the 50% level needed to avoid a runoff. He is running against Democrat Jason Carter and Libertarian Andrew Hunt. Now, why does Nathan Deal need to go? For those of you who are not familiar with Nathan Deal's record in Georgia, I will give you some of the highlights, and some of these coming from our Reddit user Pop Murtha. Number one, Nathan Deal denied Medicaid expansion to 600,000 uninsured Georgians. Georgia, by the way, one of the states with the highest rate of uninsured people in the country. Number two, Nathan Deal touts his big education expenditures by saying that he allocated $500 million to public education. What he doesn't tell you is he actually cut massive amounts from the Georgia Hope Scholarship, effectively shutting out 63,000 Georgia high schoolers from educational funds they would have earned under the old rules. A huge part of his campaign is telling his story about how he's a friend of the businessman in Georgia, and he says Georgia is the best state in the country to do business. What he doesn't say is that Georgia happens to have one of the nation's highest unemployment rates, 8.1%, in spite of the fact that other states are recovering and recovering quickly. Of course, he says that it is simply because of Washington policy that his state is doing so poorly when it comes to employment. Of course, the fact that other states are doing so much better seems to contradict that claim. And also, originally as a congressman, he left the House to run for governor in 2010 while under investigation by the House Ethics Committee. And since then, he's cost Georgia taxpayers an additional $3 million for payouts to former staffers because of his ethics violations while governor. Yeah, more people, Lewis, need to be talking about Nathan Deal. This is one of those elections where you can make a difference. And not only is it important in Georgia because of this election, but there's a movement like in Texas to turn Georgia blue. And what greater start could we have than replacing the Republican governor?
I think that would be huge. There are lots of races like this, many of which are small, that are going to be very important for the people in those areas. You just got to get people educated. You need to get the real information out there. And our media situation is just terrible. It's not helping. If
you live anywhere in the country and you're thinking of getting involved in phone banking or in a particular race, this might not be a bad one. We have now the polls basically within the margin of error, and there's a real opportunity here to do something very good. Having a Democratic governor in Georgia, particularly when it's instead of Nathan Deal, would be a really, really good thing.